Hey, John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So in this video, I'm going to answer a question, but not a question that someone emailed me. This is a question that I get all the time, and I'm tired of answering it individually. So I'm just gonna give you why I'm doing this. So I'm a little bit bizarre, right? I do a lot of crazy kind of things. As you know, if you follow Get Up and Code, my podcast on fitness, which you can check out at getupandcode.com, I'm pretty much into fitness and in health, but I do a lot of weird things in that area. I'm kind of like Tim Ferriss, and is that I experiment on myself. So one long time running experiment that I've been doing that I often get asked about a lot is the fact that I fast until 5 p.m. every single day. And I've been doing this for 9 months now. So it's not a fad. And so I inevitably get asked, why am I doing this? So I figured I'd create this video and share it with you. Now, before I get into why I'm doing it, I do have to say, although sometimes I may look like a medical doctor, I am not a medical doctor. So I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm not a lawyer, not a politician, none of those things. So none of this is, as the basic disclaimer, don't starve yourself to death and then sue me, because I'm not recommending that you do this, but I'm going to tell you why I do it. And if you want to do it by yourself, fine, go ahead. But anyway, so why would I fast till 5 o'clock every day? So, well, let me give you a little bit of history of what I've done in the kind of experiments that I have done. So I was doing some bodybuilding back, way in my younger days, and in the acting and modeling days, and doing bodybuilding. And when I was doing bodybuilding, what I did was I would eat 6 to 7 meals a day, right? And I'd cook those meals, chicken breasts, that whole deal. And the idea was that it sped up your metabolism, and so you need to refuel your muscles and have protein every so often. So that actually turned out to be false, right? A lot of studies have come out that showed, okay, that's not really true. You don't need to eat 6 to 7 meals a day. It doesn't actually increase your metabolism. And also studies have shown that your protein absorption is actually a lot higher than what you would expect. So if you eat like 200 grams of protein in one meal, your body will digest that over time. You don't need to break it up into 20 grams here, 20 grams there. So that's kind of the basis of where I kind of transitioned from there. So I said, okay, as I started to learn these things, I tried it out. I tried eating less meals per day. I saw this, I was getting the same results. So then, what ended up happening was I've been on kind of different low carb diets and all these kind of things. And I went to Hawaii last year for 2 months, and I didn't want to make my daughter and wife suffer of my crazy diet plans. They wanted to go out and eat, and I don't really go out to eat when I'm, eating pretty clean. So I said, okay, well, here's the deal. If I skip, I had already been doing some amount of intermittent fasting, which is kind of like where you fast until noon, or, you basically skip breakfast and don't eat till you have this smaller eating window. But I said, well, what if I just extend this? What if I said, okay, I'm not going to eat till dinner every day while we're on vacation, and then we can go out to eat, and, calorie-wise, I'll be fine. So that's what I did. And as I started doing that in Hawaii, I actually started getting a lot more lean. I was already in, decent shape, but I started dropping fat. But, the other thing that happened is I expected I was probably going to lose some muscle. Well, my strength started going up. So I said, this is kind of interesting. This is weird. How is this happening? So I actually started looking out there and looking at some studies, and I found this one study that showed that some folks, they had put them on basically a 1 meal a day, fasting for a longer period of time. In fact, they had done different fasting experiments, and they found that the HGH levels in some of the subjects peaked after about 48 hours of fasting, which kind of went against this whole idea. Bodybuilders are afraid of starvation mode. Like, if you don't eat, you're going to go into starvation mode in 48 hours, and you're going to start cannibalizing your muscle. Turns out that's not true. And as much as the study can show you that, I experimented on myself, and I found that to be not true. I found that I was actually gaining more muscle and staying lean by eating 1 meal a day. So that's why I started doing it, or that's why I kept doing it. And when I got back from Hawaii and I was going to my regular schedule, I found that I was actually liking eating one meal a day because I didn't have to worry so much about what I was going to eat. I could work all day long, which without interruption, which is what I tend to like to do, and I didn't have to cook. I hate after, I guess, some of it is after doing bodybuilding for such a long time and cooking 6 to 7 meals a day. I just hate it. So I just wanted to just go to simplified one meal. And so now it's been about 9 months. I've pretty much stuck with this. I think on Christmas Day was the only time I broke this, where we have our traditional cheesecake for breakfast. And so I did do that. But aside from that, pretty much for 9 months, I've been doing this. And as you can see, I'm in good shape. I am retaining my muscle. I'm staying lean. And so, yeah, so that's my story. Now, again, like I said, it doesn't mean that this is the only way, but this is working for me, and that's why I'm sticking with it. And I do believe that HGH level, I think there is a connection there. Now, just if you're curious, if you're working out and lifting weights and stuff, I do take BCAAs, branched chain amino acids, right before my workout and right afterwards, which I found from another study that showed that that's just as effective for preserving muscle as taking a protein shake. The other side effect of this too, in fact, why I started implementing this is when I was on vacation in Hawaii, I wanted to make sure that I had some discipline in my life, right? Because you're out there, you're having a vacation. To me, I find that it's really important to maintain some kind of, I always say, do one thing that you hate every day. And so this was something that kind of kept me focused, even though I was out there having a good time, so that I still had some kind of discipline in my life, so that when I came back to regular working schedule, I didn't lose my discipline, because I think you can lose your discipline if you don't keep it up. So anyway, for all of you that were curious about that, and now, and for all of you that didn't know I was doing a fast till 5 o'clock, and now you think I'm crazy, there you go.